Hey, it's BT with the BT Silverstone review. Let's get right to it. This was the best GP weekend of the year so far. Easily, hands down. I give it an A+. Tell me what you guys give it. Because all three races, out of 3 races, 2 races came down to the final turn. That's what you want in racing. Let me tell you, I watched all 3 races in Motogp. I watched Formula 1 Monaco. I watched the Indy 500. Yeah, I didn't do shit all day. Hands down, Motogp easily. Auto racing is lucky that the fans are brainwashed, but the only caveat, the only saving grace is that when it comes to the auto racers versus motorcycle racers, the auto racers know. They know. If it was the military, if racing was the military, MotoGP would be special forces because they can do everything. They really can. If you're a great motorcycle racer, you can be a great car racer. But if you're a great car racer, when it comes to motorcycle racing, let me tell you something. Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher tried. Hey man, we're just in a different category. I'm saying we, but motorcycle racing is just a different category. And let's get right to it. I added a new category called Race of the Day. My Race of the Day, ironically, is what kicked it all off. It's like the prelims to a championship fight night. You know, championship fights or UFC or boxing. You know, they have the prelims. Well, it kicked off with Moto 2 this time, and Moto 2 didn't disappoint. And that was my Race of the Day. Ironically, it came down to 5 racers. Came down to the last corner. It was my race of the day, and rider of the day goes to Senna Agius from Australia, 19 years old. Doesn't get the fanfare he deserves because he raced in the European Championship or the Spanish Championship. Either way, not too much fanfare. He's only been on the Silverstone track maybe a couple of times, but still, for him to win that race, the way he run that race. If you haven't watched Moto 2, watch Moto 2. It's like being from the ghetto. If you ain't from the ghetto, stay out of the ghetto because you'll know the ghetto. But Moto 2, Senna Agius knows Moto 2 because he's been in Moto 2. That's why he can go to Moto 2, and that's why he's in Moto 2. But let me tell you something. He's gonna ride the race. My heartbreak goes to Aaron Canet. Oh my God! Somebody check on my man's because it's like if Mike Tyson has a bad day and you go, who's gonna tell him? Like, it's gonna be okay, champ. And that's what it's Aaron Canet losing like that. But he's gained on Manuel Gonzalez. That was only the saving grace. But the scariest 2 words you will hear in Moto 2 from here on out, I'm going to walk on the ledge right now, but the scariest 2 words you hear in Moto 2, David Alonso. If David Alonso starts to get it, he's going to got it. Let me tell you, and it bodes well for MotoGP overall because you get the South America market, and that's what MotoGP needs. We got the Asian market, got the South America market. The South America market will save the North American market. And let's just be honest. They're bigger race fans than Americans will be. I'm not talking bad about Americans, but that's just how it is. Diego Moreira's getting it. He knows how to manage tires. Ooh. MotoGP's in great hands, but David Alonso is the scariest 2 words you hear now in Moto 2. Let's go to, I'm going to skip to Moto 3 real quick. Moto 3, even though he's one of 3 racers to come back from the very back of the pack to win, Antonio Rueda, a great race by him, but I give it to Maximo Akias. He's part of Marc Marquez's group. He's my rider of the race. The kid got a podium, and he never raced on Silverstone before, not that I know. So he got a podium. He's my rider of the race, and my heartbreak goes to Angel Paceres, man. He's got to do better, but he's still in the championship hunt, but he's got to just calm down, and he'll do better. But yeah, he's my rider. He's my heartbreak of the race. Let's get to MotoGP. MotoGP, oh my God. Let me tell you something. If MotoGP was a black man, then technology would be the Kardashians, okay? 1 minute, their dad is getting you off a double murder case, and the next minute they're ruining your 5-second lead by conking out on you, or their ex-husband has called himself Yeezy like he's Black Jesus, or Jesus as I call it. But anyway, and that's what it is. Technology ruined that race for Fabio. I felt for him. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it, but David Emmett, if you listen to the podcast, listen to him. It's true. He was interviewing Fabio after the race. And Fabio just started busting out crying to the point of, and the other grown men were starting crying. And even Dave Emmett said he started tearing up. I mean, that's the great thing about Fabio. He shows his emotions on his sleeve, whereas Marc Marquez, he cares too, but he keeps it like karate man bleed on the inside. And that's what Marc Marquez does. He bleeds on the inside. He's alpha male all the way, and he keeps his emotions in check. You could tell he was pissed. He even said he was angry at himself. Nobody else but himself. The only time I've ever seen Marc Marquez crack when he didn't know the camera was there, and it was because of Fabio. Remember, I think the year Marc won his last championship, when Fabio was on his ass, he was qualifying in Malaysia, and Marc hit the gas. I mean, yeah, come out of a corner. He high-sided, and he acted like he wasn't hurt, but then he was walking back to the paddock, and he just goes, fuck! And he didn't know the camera was there. I know it ain't funny, but it was kind of funny. That's the only time he's ever cracked. Because in front of the camera, you never see him sweat. You never see him hurt. Marquez he's a dog. But it's great to see Fabio have emotions. And Marquez, by the way, is the alpha dog. Let me tell you something. This weekend, he was Ted Kennedy. He had the luck of a Kennedy, and that was his Chappaquiddick, because he had a wreck, but he survived it and came back and got a podium. That's right. That was his Chappaquiddick. Somebody died in that in that crash off the bridge, and that's what it was. But that red flag saved him, and he was Ted Kennedy all the way, baby. He came back to fight another day, and that's what he did. He didn't feel comfortable in the race, and granted, he had some racing gods on his side, but the fact, and there was nothing, I know people thinking it was a conspiracy. If it was American football and something like that happened, and Marquez was Tom Brady, and it was American football, they go, man, this is fixed. But Marquez is so in tune with everything, and that was just luck. It really was that the red flag happened just as he's crashing. Come on, man. Anyway, and that was the rules, though. I mean, nobody talked about Franco Morbidelli coming back also. But by the way, speaking of Franco, come on, Frankie, baby, stay off the racing line. What you doing? Listen, the first time I did a track day, I was on a racing line. That shit was horrifying, but I didn't know what I was doing. There's no excuse. But you're a Motogp rider. Come on, Frankie. I love you, baby. But stay off that racing line, baby. And my ride of the race in Motogp goes to Bezzecchi. I know people want to give it to Fabio. Give it to Bezzecchi because, one, right now, he's a one-man wrecking machine, Rock. And that's what he is. He's got to figure out the bike by himself. There's no Jorge Martin there. Jorge Martin's been hurt. He's been doing all the developing by himself. And let's be honest. Bezzecchi basically is like he's been trying to put together an advanced Lego set. He can't put it all together in a weekend. You know, he either have a bad qualifying or he'll have a good qualifying. And it comes to the race, maybe he'll have a decent race or a decent sprint. In the race, he's shit. He can't put it together for a whole weekend. That's his Lego set. But this weekend, he put it together. And props to him. You know, he said good things about Jorge. But let me tell you something. And I mean it. I love Jorge. And like I said last year, you know, when he was at Mugello and he was on the verge of signing with Ducati, at least he thought he had a little pep in his step, and he was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to be a factory rider, the dream's coming true. And then Ducati went with Mark, and you see that Monday when he signed with Aprilia that he didn't really want to be with Aprilia, and you could tell. And I'm a firm believer, and I'm like a black hippie and shit. I'm like, yeah, man, the emotions and put out to the universe, bro. But it's true. Martin didn't want to be there, so what happens when he's on the bike, right? He got hurt. He's been hurt on the bike ever since because he didn't want to be there. And Rivola, the team principal, was like, I think he put out a tweet that said, see, Martin, the bike can win, which I think Martin thinks the bike can't win. But you know what? You got to want to be there. And he doesn't want to be there, so don't make him be there. If somebody don't want to be, you know, it's like going through a divorce and you still got to go to a dinner party. Why? You know, if you're going through divorce proceedings, and your soon-to-be divorced wife who's about to hit you up for alimony goes, hey, why don't you come to the party with me? It's an office party, and you're going, why the fuck should I go to a Christmas party and eat that nasty-ass fruit cake so you can save face? Bitch, you the one that broke up with me, you know? And that's what it's like. Why? If he don't want to be there, let him go to Honda or maybe Yamaha. I don't know. I haven't heard rumors. Let him go wherever. But if he don't want to be there, let him be there. Let Nea Bastianini go to Aprilia. I bet a Nea Bastianini can make that shit work, or even Agura. So let Martin go. You know, it's almost like a George Michael song, like "Teacher, there are things that I don't understand." Anyway, let Martin go. Get somebody else on that seat that wants to be there, and then it'll be peace in the valley. Because, like the old saying, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. And right now, Martin is mama, and ain't nobody happy. But props to Bezzecchi. He put together the Legos for this weekend, and he is my ride of the race. Of course, the heartbreak is Fabio. Man, damn, that was hard to watch. It really was. I felt for Fabio. But let me tell you something, and I'm talking out of my ass here, but I really think if everybody had equal machinery, if everybody had, you know, everybody was up to par, up to snuff, Fabio, second only to Mark, come to talent. I mean, I like to see that battle again. I don't know about you guys. I mean, and nothing against Pecco, and watching Pecco's face being so dejected, that's hard to watch also. I have nothing against Pecco. I like Pecco. I love that he and his sister are together in the same team, but man, it's hard to watch for like they said in Predator, you know, they ain't no way no soldier to die. And it's true. Pecco's a soldier. Ain't no way for no soldier to die. So anyway, I hope they get it, but this is why I say Mark is the alpha dog. Even Pecco says he follows Mark. And Austin, when Mark got off the bike, Pecco got off the bike. Even Pecco said Mark knows how to ride around these problems. I don't. That's why I say Mark is the leader. He's the alpha dog all the way. Right now, watching Marquez right now, and they're slowly trying to come up Honda and Zarco. They're slowly climbing up the ranks, and so is Yamaha. And right now, Mark is like the lone Ducati guy on top of the steps, like Scarface. That last scene, like, I take you all through fucking hell. Come on, come on. And that's what Mark is. He's that last scene in Scarface. He just taking everybody out. And listen, he's 32. Even though it's Marquez, he keeps his body in great shape. He wants to win more than anybody. He can't beat Father Time, but right now he's doing a damn good job of keeping these youngsters at bay. Another talking point, Pedro Acosta and Furman Aldeguer. Aldeguer and Acosta are an interesting pair because I feel that Aldeguer is taking some of the shine away from Pedro Acosta. That and Pedro Acosta's bike he's not happy with. And he's showing in the face too he's not happy with. He's just kind of like, and but granted, KTM's like a broke ass, it's a, like I said, they're a broke ass company right now. Even though they got bought out, it ain't really trickling down just yet. And so, it's only gonna be so much more before Pedro decides to jump ship. And if he goes to a VR46, if he goes to VR46, can you imagine Pedro and Fabio Di Antonio together? Oh my God! Maybe he and Frankie could swap places. Oh my God! But anyway, those two they are coming together. But I think there's a little rivalry there because, like I said, Pedro's supposed to be the boy wonder, which he is. Don't get me wrong. But Fermin Aldeguer is taking a little bit of that shine. Remember when Pedro knew he was going to Motogp? Remember, Fermin started kicking his ass. Remember the last 3 or 4 races, Aldeguer was winning. So, and that's what MotoGP needs. We need that young rivalry, and that's what it is. I think I've said everything I wanted to say, guys. I wrote it down. I know you guys enjoyed the weekend. Tell me what grade you give the weekend. I'd give it an A+. I just thought it was great racing, great drama. I mean, you couldn't fabricate this drama. That's why I say MotoGP, you can't fix that, man. That was just straight up drama all the way. Who knew Marquez was going to crash? And both he and his brother crashed, and they both came back. And the coming of Yamaha and Honda together, but Honda's got about 400 people in that garage right now trying to fix them problems. They got Alessia Spargo. They got no one talks about Luca Marini, and they got and Zarco. Oh my! Anyway, listen, this has gone on way too long, but just putting the facts down. First of all, what do you guys think Martin's going to end up? I'm going to say Martin goes to Honda. I'm just going to put it out there. I think Martin's going to go to Honda. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think he's going to break the contract, go to Honda. I think Bastianini's going to go to Aprilia. I get the race weekend an A+. You guys tell me what you think. Thanks for watching. I know I rambled, and I know I rambled on, but you tell me what you think. And anything I missed that you guys want to talk about, tell me, man. You know me, I can take some criticism. Until then, you know the word. Bye.